What is good, guys? It's Rey-Jay back with another video. And in this one, I want to break down what's going on with NIO, Tesla, SPY, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm also going to break down what's coming out with the economic data coming out for tomorrow, not to mention more news about NIO. But before I break into devil's information, let me just say a couple of things. Firstly, I am not a financial planner, so take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Moomoo link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Moomoo, the link down below, and deposit $100 into the account, you are guaranteed 5 free stocks. If you deposit $1,000, you're guaranteed up to 15 free stocks, and the offer ends very soon. Anyways, for NIO, we had a very flat day on Friday. Overall, this thing is on a bit of a downtrend, and we did get this rejection off the daily 50 EMA. But zooming out, you guys can see that on the 4-hour time frame, there's a bit of a downtrend here, and we have like a head and shoulders like structure. So this right here is basically like a left shoulder. This is like a head, and this is like a right shoulder forming. If this were to pop and drop again, that's another real possibility. But overall, I am seeing a downtrend and a risk of more downside. So the chart does look technically a bit more bearish. But the question is, what's going to affect this? What do I think could end up playing out? So I first want to talk about some data before I break down more information. In terms of data, tomorrow is going to be Monday, March 18th. And it's going to be very important because it's going to be the first kind of like minor data day of the week before things become a lot more serious the closer it gets to Wednesday. So for tomorrow, data is very quiet, right? We have the NAHB Housing Market Index at 10 o'clock a.m. And then at 11:30 a.m., we have the 3-month and 6-month bill auctions coming out. So we're going to be watching these very, very carefully. This data is going to cause some more volatility. So watch for more volatility at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time for tomorrow. On Tuesday, we have more data coming out. We have the housing starts data, more housing data, and more information about the bond auctions throughout the day. But the most important day is going to be Wednesday, as we have the FOMC meeting. Excuse me, we have the FOMC meeting, Jerome Powell giving a speech, and we're going to be looking at the FOMC projection analysis that's going to be coming out. So we're going to find out what the Fed is telling us about what we're expecting for the next the next rate hike, what could end up coming out for the next year, next 2 years, what on earth could interest rates look like during those times. That's going to be very important. So I'll be watching that as time goes on. With that being said, moving forward, looking at how things are looking at the current probabilities, there's a very high chance the Fed is going to keep rates the same. That's what the market is projecting. But the economic projections for the 1 year out and 2 years out will be even more important. For one more piece of data, the market's pretty greedy right now. We're still at greed. We were at extreme. Now we're kind of slowly turning this way. I also want to add that as things are at extremes, you can see market volatility is at neutral right now around this, very close to the 50 daily moving average. So we'll see if that changes. And so far, that's all we're seeing for the time being. I also want to add that as far as NIO goes, NIO's William Lee Bin is urging more focus on battery life as warranties expire on nearly 20 million NEVs over the next 8 years. He said it's very important to note that batteries with lifetimes of up to 15 years are technically feasible, but it's going to take a lot more effort by the time the industry is able to advance to the goal. This is important as time goes on because, moving forward with this, NIO has to improve their battery capabilities, and that's what they're going to be focusing on because of their warranties. That's going to be very, very huge for them. We'll see if anything changes, at least for like the more shorter term. But with that new shift in their ideas, this could incentivize more sales because of these warranties. So that's going to be good news for them if that ends up improving. And with a lot of these EVs potentially losing their warranties over the next 8 years, if each of them pay, a subsequent amount of money to kind of like resolve those issues, that is something else that could end up taking place. So we're still watching to see if anything happens from here. But that's something worth noting once warranties expire. So that's going to be very, very important too. So I'm waiting to see another update on this if any more changes develop. As far as NIO's Twitter page goes, we have the ET7 in June, looking for its premiere. That's also going to take place in another cinema in Berlin. So that's good for them. UBS gave NIO a very neutral rating. I'm not really seeing anything else changing. The price price ratio is flat, it's starting to drop a bit because NIO is losing some strength. And in terms of seasonality, Mondays are green only about 49% of the time. We also tend to see more and more volatility around 11 o'clock a.m., around 1 p.m., and also during the final hour of the day. So we'll have to see how this goes for them. March is historically not the strongest of months for NIO, but this could be a bit of an exception because we already dropped quite a bit in February. So, with that being said, guys, we'll see how that goes. Volume is currently at about 33 million, a little bit below average, and I'm not really seeing any other changes in terms of our short volume. It's kind of like the same right here around this 40% area. So, what do I see for NIO? Honestly, guys, the chart does look a bit more bearish. So we have like a head and shoulders like structure developing right here. This is like a left shoulder, this is a head, and this is a right shoulder. If we get another rejection, so we might pop and drop to 5.8 and reject. If we fail right here, I do anticipate it's going to come all the way down to at least 5.37 and eventually make our way back down closer to 5 again. We could get a retest looking at the current setup, and we are on a downtrend, so it's looking a little bit weaker. There is a risk of some downside for NIO, unfortunately. That's what we're seeing on the 4 hour time frame. The daily is showing something very, very similar. So that is something worth noting. And I just want you guys to be prepared for that. For SPY, we're also on a downtrend. As you guys can see, it's been downtrending for quite some time. It looks to me like it's going to rebound a bit towards 510 to 5, I would say 511 to 512. Then we might get a rejection and continue lower, and we might just continue this downtrend as we approach the FOMC meeting. I think we could continue to sink closer to 505, but we might pop a little bit first before we continue lower. So far, the chart is favoring bears somewhat more, especially because of the facts that on the daily time frame we just lost a key support that I was looking at. So on the daily, we haven't lost our support yet, but we're very close to it. The 20 EMA is going to be a level worth watching. Look for a little rebound and a continuation lower, and then we'll see what Jerome Powell causes. Now, am I saying this is going to crash? The answer is no. It may pop and drop and downtrend temporarily, but that's not the same thing as a crash. If this thing were to crash, right, this thing has to just continue to keep falling, and we have to get Jerome Powell to at least give us another confirmation of that because we're waiting for the FOMC meeting. We'll see if Jerome Powell contributes to more downside or if he causes a bounce. We'll just have to wait and see. For Tesla, just wanted to mention that Tesla's on a bit of a downtrend, but on the 4 hour time frame, we're trying to turn right here as long as we get a good piece of news. If there's a good piece of news, I think Tesla could push all the way back up to 168 to 170. If there's a bad piece of news and it fails, we're going to sink back down to 158. Right now, the chart suggests we're going to push back up to 168 and outperform the market. I hope Tesla gets that decent piece of news and we don't get too much bad news, so Tesla could bounce. The QQQ is looking a bit more bearish right here. It's been downtrending quite a bit. And looking at it, I think that there's a very good chance we get very close to our 200 EMA. It may retest 435 to make its way down for a rejection, then come back down lower towards 432, if not 430. So watch that very, very carefully, and we'll have to see how it goes. On the 4 hour time frame, we're kind of stuck on Nvda right now, very indecisive, getting ready for any announcements from their events. But for now, watch and see which way we break. If we break 886, we could push higher. If we lose 872, we could push lower. We're kind of stuck between our 4 hour, 20, and 50 EMAs. So for now, we're just range bound on Nvda. We're just waiting for a big move. It is possible an accumulation is trying to develop and it may try to like pop a little bit more because overall, Nvidia is still technically trying to hold up. This could be forming like a nice flag. So I'll just have to wait and see. As of right now, it's pretty range bound. It's been like this for 2 days. So we'll just see. Be a little bit patient, at least for now. And then for Amazon, for not I'm sorry, not Amazon, Apple. Apple, in my opinion, is looking not the strongest. So it was trying to break out above 174 and it kind of failed. So now it's just very stationary. It could push a little hard to retest 174, but we have to try to break that to turn bullish. As of right now, every time we hit and get very close to 174, we get these rejections. So it may pop a bit and make its way back down, which contributes to the pop and drop I'm seeing for the overall market. All right, so that's what I'm seeing for the markets, guys. We may see SPY, the QQQ pop and drop. We could see Tesla outperform the market. We could see Nvidia just continue to range trade and eventually pick a direction. And Apple looks like it may pop again to resistance, and we'll have to see how it reacts. So that's what I'm seeing so far for the charts. NIO, on the other hand, is looking a little bit weak, technically speaking. It could rebound a little bit, retest like 508 or even 5.7. 5.8 or 5.7, and then we could reject and continue lower overall because the trend is still bearish for NIO. So look for a little pop and drop like move, and I do anticipate more downside to eventually come. Anyways, guys, thank you all so much for listening. Have a great day, and I'll see you guys very soon tomorrow. Take care and peace out.